United versus Chelsea has never disappointed, and this was one of the games that again did not disappoint. We saw red cards, we saw goals, we saw challenges, we saw poor referee decisions, we saw everything in this game. And for me, I just think that both teams can just basically write this game off. Yes, United got a 3 points and Chelsea lost. But in terms of what it means for both teams going forward, yeah, a bit of momentum, yeah, a bit of maybe a logic thinking or a bit of, strategy change for Chelsea going forward because they have been dropping points. But in terms of for both teams, you couldn't really learn nothing from this game. Both teams, after both teams getting red cards, they just pretty much did not play any football. They both just one defended, one played side to side like it was a training match. And I didn't know if I was actually watching defense versus attack. And the coach said, hey, when you win the ball, try score. But this is really defensive shape, like drill. Like it really seemed like a Wednesday night at training or Wednesday morning at training for your game on the weekend, and you're just putting in some shape work so that, when it gets closer to the time for the game, you can just do some shooting, finishing, simple work, not too much on the shape. You already worked on that throughout the week already. And that's what it seemed like. And that for me just made the game a bit of a to watch. It wasn't as excited as I thought it would have been. It started electric, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't as exciting as I thought that it would have been. Now, United had a lot of things they did in the game that I was happy with, but also they did some things in the game that, for me, we still need to work on to evolve this team. And I'm not saying this team is close to anything being the finished article or product, but what I do think is we are taking the right steps towards making sure we can be a team that have a platform to be able to evolve. There is an evolution coming. You can see it now. You can see the base being built, the work ethic. You can see the drive. And this is the kind of performance you need every week. And I say this from, a lot of us say this all the time. We need this energy. We need this work. We need you guys to keep showing this fight. And this is what you need every time you play for United, because you can see teams come very and highly focused because this is a big game. They know millions, hundreds of millions, probably 1 billion people in the world is watching them play football at that one time against United. And this is why a lot of these teams come to United trying to win, because if they are the team that beat United, it's just another big story. And that means, the bonuses look good, everything look good. So there's a few things that happen, and we're going to try to see if we can identify them and point it out, and also give just a bit of the managerial notes to what we think we can fix in this team based on the performance we saw. So here is my number one. We need to improve our decision making. Now, a lot of times in the game, we get 3-on-1, 4-on-2, 2-on-1s, and we don't utilize them. I remember there were so many times in the game, even just after the red card and after Bruno Fernandes scored. Ahmad had an opportunity where the goalkeeper was out the goal. He skies it. He just tries to lob it to a back post to Mbeumo. When you have Bruno at the edge of the box, you have Sesko. There's another chance when he gets in behind. Sesko's in the middle. He tries to beat Towson and he goes outside. There's another chance when he picks up the ball in the 18. He has a chance to just lay off Dogu on the overlap, and he cuts back inside and loses the ball. So there does these small things in the game where we have opportunities that we have the overloads, or we have a chance to create a bigger chance, and we don't take it. And we need to improve on our decision making. There's too many times in the game where we have chances to be clinical or to kill the game early, and we take the worst decision acting like we're going to consistently keep getting these chances throughout the whole game. And I'm tired of watching a United team all the time make these same mistakes over and over again. And the problem I'm having with Amad Diallo is he's not learning from the mistakes that he's making. Ahmad tries this bicycle kick thing like 3 times in the last 3 games, and you've connected 0 times. When are you going to say, okay, you know what, let me stop trying this and maybe just plant my foot down and pass the ball? It's becoming annoying, and these are the small things within the football that is frustrating for players like Bruno Fernandes. Why he has to be frustrated and then he gets criticized because you're like, oh, why he have to be the captain? But when you're looking at young players do the same shit all the time, sometimes you have to think, why is this actually not him trying to improve? And that is the problem with some of these young players in United's team. They fail to improve. But also decision making with Casemiro. We are 11-10. You're on a yellow card. Why are you making a decision for the referee? Why are you forcing the referee to have to make a decision? You know, like, you are telling the referee, hey ref, come book me. I'm stupid. That's what that challenge really is standing for. And at the end of the day, you can't be upset with the referee for making that decision when you are giving him a chance to have to make a decision. The team is on a break. Okay, Chelsea scores. It's 2-1. So what? We have 11v10. If we keep the ball moving in this rate, if we keep them, force them back, we can probably win the game. So this shows me also that Casemiro doesn't trust that the team is able to then, you know, be able to come back from that deficit. Because why is he going into such a stupid challenge? It has to be better. It has to be smarter. We need to make better decisions. Again, Lenny Euro, not scanning, not looking around, not aware of what's going on. Just poor decision making. United players need to make better decisions. Now, this leads me to them not making better decisions, but they need to make better decisions to also feed our striker in to get more out of him, which is what brings me to my second point. We need to use Sesko's ability more. You know the goal, the first goal leading to the red card. Not the first goal, but the chance leading to the red card. It was all a Benjamin Sesko press. Now here is how it built it up, right? It came from the right side. United lost the ball. Reece James recycled it, played it to Chalobah, who played it, then cut back, played it to Sanchez. Sesko read that and chased him. Remember, he had that slide where he tried to win the ball. He forced Sanchez to kick it. Then we recovered it, played it to Maguire. Maguire turned, played it to Altai. Altai played it long. Sesko came into the gap, flicked it on, and Mbeumo was on. We were in. That was all Sesko. Sesko had a brilliant 35 to 45 seconds in the first couple minutes of the game that changed the football game for us. But these are the small things that people won't really recognize about Sesko. And this is why we have to use his abilities more. There were a few times in the game we lobbed the ball up to him with pressure on his back. He brought it down. I remember even that one chance distinctively. Brought it down on his chest. Locked it in from a long ball from Mazouai. Played in Amad Diallo. You know, these are the small things. We need to get him a bit more involved. We need to use him. I see Jeremy Dogie whipping balls in early for him. He's running in behind, getting into the space. We need to use Sesko a bit more because he has attributes that are very beneficial to the Premier League and very beneficial to United. His physicality alone, how he runs into the space, how he attacks space, how he occupies both defenders and draws them out of their spaces is actually a real brilliant trait. And I think now we need to start to put chances on the plate for him to get a few to tap in. You know, we should have Sesko on like 10 goals by December. If Sesko can have 10 goals by December, it would be a very good thing for the young man. It would be a very, very good boost for his career at Manchester United. It is possible because there are chances that we are creating that he can be at the end of it. And there are chances that we can create even now that we're not creating, that we should create for him. We haven't played him in behind 3 times since he's been playing. We haven't created a chance where he's slipping in both from the centre-backs onto goal on a one-on-one. And we see consistently many strikers in the Premier League getting these opportunities, except Manchester United strikers. Now, when we look at how the system and the team is set up, yeah, we also need to find a way to do this in order to get the ball to Sesko. And that is playing the ball through the thirds a bit faster, which brings me to my third point. Now, we have a problem where sometimes we slow the game down too much. And that is forcing us to not be able to play some of our players in transition when we really need to. There is nothing wrong with us trying to have control and dominate the game, but sometimes we need to quicken up the way we play and play through the thirds a bit more. Too many times the centre backs are trying to cut the midfield and play into the strikers, when sometimes we actually should try to play through the thirds to draw the midfield of the opposition away from our attackers, so that we can then get our attackers in space to turn and run at their defenders. I think too many times we are trying to force the play, and we are forcing ourselves in positions where we are not allowing our midfield to get into the game. We are not playing enough throughout the thirds, and I feel like we need to start to try to build up playing through the thirds. Maybe that can be because we have a midfield deficiency, or maybe that can be when the Kobe Mainos of the world come in, who's comfortable playing on the half turn, collecting the ball off of the centre backs, or when you have a Leach or Martinez come back, who is able to step in as a centre back and now start to play through the thirds a bit more. I think that we will be such a better team. But yes, this has been your three key factors that I've learned through the game. Manchester United did pretty well from Chelsea. I hope we can keep this going. I hope we can keep this momentum going. And I hope that Ruben Amorim now, I can see already he's learning and he's becoming a lot more tactically astute. And today we were a lot rigid. Well, yesterday we were a lot rigid. And that is very important to see, that he is actually trying to make changes and you can see a few tweaks to his system. Also, let's remember, today we saw Maz, De Ligt, Maguire, Luke Shaw. That is technically a back four we saw today. And both Maz, De Ligt, and Harry Maguire, if you realize Harry Maguire and De Ligt both shared the chance to mark João Pedro out of the game, and that was excellent to see. So yes, Manchester United is on a good route. It was good to see them playing well against Chelsea. Although the game was a bit of a whatever game, it's still a big result for Ruben Amorim. Let's keep the train going. Let's keep it pushing forward. Come on, Reds.